So we're going to start by rounding off these corners on the two edges. I just have two pieces of wood right now, and this is just going to make sure we can lay our fleece over this and everything will be rounded. I'm just going to use a little circle. You can see right here I just used it as a template to mark out just a circular round cut on the edge of it. Now we're going to take the rabbet bit and knock down the edge around the bottom and the back piece. It's pretty much the same technique as the 110 box video. Again, taking your time, not rushing anything. Don't get your hands too close to that blade, it'll rip them apart. Right now, I'm going to put some support in the back of this. It's always a good idea. Whenever you're building a box like this, it just has a bottom and a back. Two different pieces of wood. You want to bond them together with a support. Just use some regular wood glue. I'm going to add another little piece in the front. You don't have to, but I always like to, where you just know it's sturdy. I'll go ahead and tack this in with some finish nails. You can use screws. You don't technically even have to. Then I'm going to fill these creases. You don't have to do this either. It's just something I like to do. Go ahead and kind of push it down into the cracks a little bit. This will kind of make sure that this back part is more airtight. All these creases and crevices aren't leaking air into the back. I'm actually pushing on this pretty good and it's not moving, so we can tell it's sturdy. Now I'm just finding the center of this. I'm going to use these squares to cut my rings. Just repeat the process with however many rings you need. And I just find that center just because of the way I cut them. I use a pivot point in the middle. Most techniques that you're going to use are going to end up having to drill a hole in the middle. To get your hole, all we're going to do is take our flat piece of wood, mark one line from one to the other side, do the exact opposite, line across. That pretty much just finds our center. Go ahead and drill your hole right there. Alright, so now we have a ring. And I'm going to use a technique right here. You know how we flip it over and we cut the bottom half out? Notice where I'm marking right here. Whenever I'm going around and cutting out, I'm not going to cut where these lines are. I'm going to actually lift it up, turn it, and cut in between these lines. This will just make it a little bit easier to mount these rings and make it also a little bit easier to cut these rings out, cut the center out whenever we're done. See, I just lift it, turn it a little bit, drop it back down. You don't have to do this, but it does make it easier. You see where the gaps were left. And we'll just cut those out whenever we're ready to pull them out. Now I've got the rabbit bit on here again. I'm going to make edges around the top. It's going to let us lay our fleece over it right. Make for a little bit better of a bond between the ring and the fleece. Go ahead and test fit whatever speaker you're going to use. Make sure your rings are actually the right size. Now these are my supports. I'm using 2x4s here. And you can cut them at whatever angle you want it at. And you can really play around with this by just turning these supports. But right now I'm going to take the hole that I already drilled for the center, stick a screw through there, and mount these things to my supports. See, the ring will sit at the angle of the support, and you can turn it, make it flip, turn, tilt, whatever direction you want it to be at. Mock those up, make sure they're the same for the other side if you want it to be mirrored. Now for the center, I'm just going to kind of eyeball where I want it to be at. Go ahead and cut it down. Put it at a little bit of an angle, but not as much as the other guys. Go ahead and mount that to the center support. This is kind of the look that I'm going for. And now I'm going to mark on here where I actually want these things at. I'll show a little demonstration when I'm done mounting these of how we're actually going to be doing this, since it's kind of hard to see with these rings already mounted to the supports what I'm actually doing behind here. But I'm going to mount this first one where I want it at, tack it in there, and now I'm going to work off of where I have that one to place this one on the right.